get started. Welcome to our monthly district advisor update call. Thanks for joining this. Either you're in July and you're not usually at school. I would hope you wouldn't come back to school just to join this call. But as usual, go ahead and put your name, where you're from, into the chat window, just so we'll log it. Right. Thanks for joining, everyone. The year-end window is over. It went pretty well. Definitely went better than the fall. So just to be clear about what happened, we took the snapshot on Monday afternoon, I believe, on the 1st. We delayed it a little bit just because the 30th was over a weekend. And then you can see now a lot of reports have a reporting window where it'll say year-end locked in advisor validation. There were a few reports that didn't have a reporting window at all, and so now that are like completers are really just for the end of the year. So now, like, that report just has two options, one that says full year and one that says year-end locked, where full year, or it might as well say year-end. Either way, that's the live data versus the locked data is what is in that snapshot. That does not stop you from being able to publish 1819 data. The advisor API is up and running. You can still keep publishing. This is where we will be collecting the follow-up data. So you can continue to publish data if you're making any fixes to course data, coming up, discipline data, things like that. You can publish anything you want. It does not affect the snapshot locked data at this point. That locked data is essentially what NDE will be using for the official year-end count until we do the follow-up. Just to be clear, the validation errors and the lookups, those are running off the live data, not the locked data. If you wanted to make any changes to your locked data, you need to do the request to submit data late through the CDC. We've got a few of those that we're working with, a few districts, but not too many, not nearly like the fall. So yeah, the follow-up data collections, like I said, we'll keep using that same 1819 data. You can still keep publishing to that. Likely in the fall, you will be publishing changes to your 1819 data and to your 1920 data. And how you do that kind of differs from sys vendor to vendor. But in a lot of them, generally, if your SIS has a box at the top where you flip between school years, and depending on what school year you are in, will determine where your data is being published. We've covered this in the bulletin, but we've because of a few problem areas that affected a lot of or all districts, we've added some additional things to the follow-up collection for this fall. We're adding all the discipline data, and since we haven't had time to get those reports out in front of you yet to verify your data. Homeless numbers, specifically the unaccompanied youth, will be collected in the follow-up. We're also considering maybe just making all course and grades data in the follow-up. That seemed to be the #1 thing districts were still struggling with at the end. And there's a few bugs that were also affecting some people's ability to report that. So typically, I think it was only summer school would be considered in the follow-up, but we may just look at all 18-19 course and grades data. Does anyone have any comments or feedback about that? By the way, I think if you want to talk, you are muted, but you can go and unmute yourself in the Zoom window. No, I will take that as no one has a big problem with that. Just, yeah, there's definitely some data quality issues there. However, you know, I think our attendance data actually came out pretty well. Most people seem to get that working. We've updated that student attendance summary report a lot to give you just every piece of data you need. So that's been working. But yeah, I don't think there would be any problem with you know, collecting the courses. So, you know, generally we hope you keep your 18-19 data in shape because that's what we would plan on using in the follow-up. There's, I know, possibly been some issues relating to rolling over that can hurt your 18-19 data, but we should hopefully have time to work that out. The fall follow-up, that is due the same time as the regular fall collection at the end of October. Also, the 1920 calendar document is available on our advisor resources site. That spells out what's in the follow-up. We may need to release an updated version of that soon, as well as just the schedule for everything we're collecting next year. All right, little update about advisor validation. As you've seen in the bulletin, just with the timing of the year-end window, we didn't want to release the update that would lock people out of parts of their data if they didn't have their portal roles set up correctly. So we've held off on releasing that update, and we're going to wait until the last of the districts are done with their late requests, which will probably be around the end of this week, hopefully. So probably next week we will deploy the update to advisor validation, where you will need to get those additional portal roles if you want to see FRL data, special ed data, or discipline data. At the same time, we'll be releasing the SPED discipline report for sure, and hopefully the discipline details, or that would come pretty soon after the release is available. And there's a few fixes and updates in there as well, small things to look up. I added a new courses no teacher report. It's kind of confusing. Courses no teacher is basically the same list as if you're looking at like the course roster or the student courses report, and you see courses that say no teacher reported. So this courses no teacher just focuses on all of those. So just something we I kind of realized it would be helpful to have that right at the end. As obviously that wasn't really something that happened under NSSRS. So anyway, if you haven't already, go ahead. You can add those 3 additional codes in the portal. So if you want access to everything, you would actually end up with 4 codes. You have 1 code as a district user in advisor validation, and then you add 1 for food program access, special ed access, and discipline access. Advisor 3.1 upgrade. One small change that's come up as we were doing the end of the year. This isn't really a big change for vendors, but I think we will need to add it to the 1920 changes document. I think originally we defined the level of program participation, as in whether you're Part B or Part C. It used to say it's the student's age as of 8/31, but that's not always true. If a student, and we had a few districts that caught this right at the end of the year, if there's students who exit out of special ed in the month of August before 8/31, and their birthday is also like between the time they exited and 8/31, then they need to be, they were age 2 when they exited, so they need to be Part C, even though they became age 3 by 8/31. So that's just kind of an update of that field definition on our side. Other things going on is we'll be setting up a staging environment for vendors to use in the certification testing sometime in the next couple of weeks. Like every year, August 1st is generally our release date for the new version of Advisor. There might be some downtime on that day, but maybe not, since we're releasing a major upgrade this year. The 1920 will kind of be separate from the 1819. So there may not be downtime that day. However, ECCC is doing some server upgrades. So the 1819 Advisor will be down for a few hours on a couple of days. We're probably predicting July 24th and 25th. So I hope that shouldn't cause any problems for anyone. Also, for the vendors on the call, there might be some downtime for the sandboxes and the staging environment starting on the 22nd and maybe the 23rd. Scott over at ECCC is moving a bunch of servers, and so we're doing backups of the whole servers and restoring them onto new systems. So let me know if you have any problems with that. Person ID, no big update there. We are working on testing this. NDE is planning on putting together some documentation and some user training by the end of this month. We will be posting that onto our advisor resources and our other websites at this address. So nothing new to say there, really. Right, a couple of vendor updates. Michelle and John, I see you're on. Do you have anything you want to update about campus for us? And I can't, if you're trying to talk, you can't hear you.
Sorry, I was muted. I don't think there's a lot to update you, Michelle. I mean, Ron and his team at campus are working away on all of 3.1 and development is working hard, but I don't think there's a ton of new stuff to report, is there?
I don't know if Michelle has her phone hooked up, but yeah, I'm not aware of anything major going on with campus myself. Greg and Jeff at JMC, do you have any updates you wanted to share?
We're working fervently on the Advi 3.1 updates for 1920, but nothing new. Jeff Post is a new developer. He's going to be working with JMC. It just started this week, so he's going to be working with me on the EdFi updates this summer as well. Jeff, did you want to make a comment?
Hi, everyone. Nice to be here.
Hi, Joe.
Nice to meet you.
Jeff had formerly worked for the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction, so he is well versed in EdFi.
That's good. Yeah, we've worked with Wisconsin in some EdFi related things as well. Little Power School update. I wanted to point out that Amy has some instructions on how to turn off your 1819 publishing. I think it's a good idea to do that before you do the rollover. Amy's on.
Yes.
Did I describe that correctly?
Yeah, before you do your, so there is a known issue with Power School. They are aware, and it was something that wasn't supposed to happen, but it will get fixed, is right now, if you leave your Power School, if you leave your EdFi or your DEX turned on, it will unpublish your seniors if you, and then do your rollover. Now, if you turn off your advisor, and those instructions were sent out, then everything should be fine. And then if you do need to republish any 1819 data, so far the districts I've worked with, we've been pretty successful with that. So we shouldn't see that next year. That is a known issue that Power School kind of surprised Power School a little bit, but it's happening to other states as well. So it's not just us. And then another Power School update is we will probably see the kind of first release of 3.1 at the end of July. I just want to remind people that more than likely we won't be turning on anything 1920 advisor wise until probably after Labor Day. We've just had more success kind of getting your Power School loaded, getting everything in it. We have there's a couple of us that do some testing, and so we'll be testing and publishing data and making sure things are working and getting all the right updates in a timely manner. So if I do have any Power School folks on, don't anticipate turning on the 1920 EdFi till after Labor Day, and I am working with NDE we aren't going to do any special work days this year. I think last year we did a round of a setup work day. What we'll do this year is probably more webinar type of thing. So I'll be working with NDE on putting some possible dates out in that regards. Other than that, I think that's about it. So lots of different changes coming with the 3.1 and some of the things that Max has talked about. So just stay tuned. We are working on maybe putting together a better way to communicate with all of our Power School districts as well. We found some loopholes in what we were doing this 18-19 year. So we're trying to close that gap. And that's all.
And yeah, I'm probably expecting they will have to make a fix for the unaccompanied youth problem in 1819.
Oh, right.
So we still need to report that in the follow-up, but we'll talk.
And actually, that might come out with this July release, Max. I'll have to go back and look at some notes. So.
All right.
And just to know that districts won't be allowed in to start submitting 1920 advisor data until their vendors are certified.
But yeah, that should hopefully happen well before Labor Day. So.
Oh yeah.
So the timing is still the same. SRS, I know, has an update. I believe it was supposed to be deployed on Monday. I'm not sure if that went out. I don't think Scott's on. There was just, a major update to SRS. They had a lot of features, some of them involved with making advisor publishing work better. So if anyone here uses SRS, be on the lookout for that. I don't really know anything else about what's involved in that. So I think that's everything we wanted to cover. Next meeting is August 7th. Anyone have any other questions or comments you want to talk about?
Max, remind me, will you post this agenda somewhere? Do you
Yeah,
post
this
that
is
on
posted on the
okay,
meeting.
on the resource page. Yep.
Actually, on the meeting tab.
On the meeting tabs. Perfect. All right. I appreciate that.
I just posted it 10 minutes before the meeting.
Awesome.
It. But And I'll be posting the recording there as well. All right, anyone else? All right, well, I'm not hearing anyone. Thanks for joining, everyone. Thanks for taking time out of your summer. We'll talk to you next month. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.